Welcome in 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Full show tonight. Full reaction to the Boston Celtics heading to their second NBA Finals in the last 3 seasons. And we got it all here for you tonight on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Let's open up the phone lines. You want to react? You want to celebrate? Hell, if you want to be critical, I don't know how you can be. If you want to just celebrate them doing what they should, your thoughts on Jaylen Brown being the Eastern Conference Finals MVP? Was there a snub? All that on the table tonight at 617-779-0985. We have a new intern. His name's Kevin. He's from West Roxbury. I'm going to bust his chops all night, and he's the guy that's going to answer your calls. Skaz is here as well. And we're on YouTube. What's up, Tube fam? I'll be reading those throughout tonight. And, of course, if you want to join the show on YouTube, you just download the app on your phone, tablet, wherever you want to do it, even on your television. That's what I tell a lot of people to do. Get it right on your TV, but you can join the chat, and I'll read some of those throughout the night. So the Celtics did what you thought they would do. They would go to the NBA Finals. Congratulations. Growth, right? Growth. People have doubted this team. People have taken the field. People think they can't win in clutch situations. They don't think they matured enough. Maybe Tatum's not a dog. Jaylen Brown doesn't have a left hand. All those things, they were said. But here they are. Exactly where they should be. Exactly where people predicted. Exactly what everyone expected them to do. They checked their boxes. They've grown up as a group. They really have. This is just a completely different team. For the people that had their doubts, who picked the field, who thought that they would struggle against certain teams, the one thing is this: they are different. They're different for a multitude of reasons. Number 1 and 2, Tatum and Brown have grown and have matured and want to play together. There was a report, Shams had it about a couple of days ago, that back in 2021, ownership went to Jason Tatum and said, do you want to play with Jaylen Brown? And he said, absolutely yes. They could have moved on from him. They didn't. I've said on this very show for a year. So anything I say or Skaz says, we have been saying this for a year, not because we're green teamers, because we're not. I'm not, at least. I don't know what Skaz. You've been called a little green leprechaun. He's been called that. Me, I just look at it and say they're the best team. They fixed their holes. Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, right? The Derek White's progressed. This team has rallied down from 18. They trailed in the fourth quarter of 3 games and won. They're also 10-1 without Kristaps Porzingis. They've won 7 games in a row. They're going to the NBA Finals. Joe Mazzulla outcoached Eric Spoelstra, Bickerstaff, and Carlisle. 2 of the 3 have championships. Have they answered your questions? Have the Celtics answered your questions? Yes. Now, they have to go out and win the championship. They know that. They're starving, says Al Horford. They're starving. I'm bought in. I believe it. I've been in for a long time. Other people are still doubters. It's okay if you're a doubter. It's okay if you look at it and say Anthony Edwards or Kyrie Irving or even Luka Doncic can beat the Celtics. My money's on the green. My green on Boston. They are the best team in the NBA. It's not over yet. They have another opportunity to defeat another team, and I just don't think there's anyone that can beat them in 4 games. The Celtics are who we thought they were. Everyone insists it's different this year. The Celtics are different. And this time, they don't intend to walk away empty-handed. It was a good win last night. A sweep. People have a problem. There are actually people out there who have a problem with a sweep. Imagine that. Oh, the path's too easy. They haven't played any closeout games. What did this series show you? Missoula outcoached the other coach. You don't need Jason Tatum to be the star to win. You can win games on the road, again, undefeated. You can beat teams that haven't lost at home who are undefeated. And you can close out series, whether it's at home and last night on the road in Indiana. And what a night it was for Jaylen Brown. And I want to give Skaz a shout out for this one. Jaylen Brown literally booed at the All-Star game this year. Where? Indiana. Wins the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He was shocked. You know what? I was shocked when I saw the odds. I'll give you those coming up in just a little bit. But Tatum has been the focal point, right? The guy who got paid the most money was Jaylen Brown. The guy who has now put the Celtics over the top is Jaylen Brown. He might be the alpha. They won't be there without Jason Tatum. They've certainly are a better team. They've grown up. I know their bench didn't play well in this series. They don't need it. One more to go. 4 more wins the rest of the way for this Celtics team to finally check boxes. And whether you think the Celtics, if they do go on to win, if it's cheapened by the path or who they played or they beat a 5 seed or whatever, the Celtics are who we thought they were in the NBA Finals and 4 games away from raising Banner 18. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. The floor is yours tonight. I think it's time to celebrate. You know, for a while there's been people, why are they celebrating? What are you celebrating? This team deserves it. They've shown growth. They have 9 days off. They don't know who their opponent is yet. We'll find out. There's storylines on both sides. I already told you who the final boss is. I've already told you that one. The Celtics are the best team no matter who they play. And they are who we thought they were. 617-779-0985. Let's look into some of the numbers in the Pacers series. We get into all that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray. We got Skaz here as well. We're on YouTube. What's up, fam? I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Nembhard gets a running start. Right-hand dribble, past Jalen, scoops it up, blocked by Jaylen Brown. He stayed with Nembhard and blocked the shot, spiking it into the ground. Now the Celtics get their turn as we go into minute 48 of Game 4. A chance for the Celtics to win the Eastern Conference Championship on the road as they did 2 years ago. Jalen stops on a dime, dribbles to the middle of the floor, jump pass into the corner, Derek White for three. Got it! Derek White from the right corner has given Boston a 105-102 lead.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Full show tonight here until 11 o'clock. 617-779-0985. There you go. The game-winning basket from Derek White, assisted by Jaylen Brown. Something we've discussed constantly here on the night show. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum proved that they can go to a final. They've also proven they can't win it by themselves. They can get there, which is where they are now. But this is a different team. Drew Holiday was outstanding. Derek White with another game winner in the playoff on the same night, same date. Same date as a year ago with a game winner. But the Celtics needed the help. Al Horford was really good this series. Right? Kind of struggled on the pick and roll. Leave him open at the three-point line, he'll knock down threes. He's been doing that his whole entire career. When they need defensive stops, they get it. Now, do I think the Pacers choked in the series? I do. But I also feel that the Celtics toyed with them. Okay, I get your little 7-point lead. All right, yeah, we'll defend you when it matters and score and one and hit big threes because that's what they constantly did. Which brings up clutch time. The Celtics aren't clutch. They can't win the way that they play. And I'm not trying to blah. But I've told you they can win this way. They can front run their way. And you know what they did this time? Instead of front running their way, they stole games and showed you that they can do that. And people didn't think they could. They did. The Celtics held the Pacers scoreless for the final 3 minutes and 33 seconds of the game yesterday. They finished the game on a 7-0 run to win it. So do I even bring up clutch? Should I even do that? Do you want to even credit them for it? So I guess they can close out games after all, right? Game 1, 23-13 down the stretch in the final 6:45. They stole that game. The Pacers gave it away, and their coach admitted it. Game 3, final 3 minutes of the game, a 15-4 run. Another blown game by Carlisle when they had an 18-point lead. And then Game 4, another 15-4 run, at this time in the final 5:50. The Celtics closed out those games, stole the games, whatever you want. The Pacers had an opportunity to win every one of them. The Celtics made stops and hit shots to win the game. Exactly what championship teams do. The Pacers just got swept after leading late in 3 of the 4 games. In 3 of the 4 games, they had a lead. You want to call them chokers? Fine. I credit the Celtics. They could have laid down. They didn't. They were down 18. They could have just said, we'll get Porzingis back the next game. Don't worry about it. In Game 1, the Pacers were up 117-114 with the ball and 9 seconds left and lost. In Game 3, the Pacers were up 109-101 with 2:25 left and lost. Game 4, Pacers were up 98-90 with 5:40 left and lost. The Pacers are a good team, the highest scoring team in the playoffs and the second in the NBA this year. But you know what they couldn't do late? They couldn't score because the Celtics defense did too much, and the Celtics, who were the best team in the league this year in scoring, did exactly that late in games. I'll say it again. The Celtics are who we thought they were. So don't give me the clutch anymore. Don't do it. Save your argument. Save it. Yeah, but, in the crunch time, Joe, Jaylen Brown, he's just blah, blah. Blah. No. Jason Tatum, late in games, Joe, though. I don't know, man. You just watched it. You just witnessed it. How can you say it? The narrative is still that this is the easy path. Oh, Tatum got bailed out. This is a team the last I checked. Those were clutch wins. You want to mention clutch? They didn't have to do it during the regular season. They were so good they could just blow everybody out. Oh, but can they do it in the playoffs? They just showed you they can. Literally just showed you. Where was it stylish? Are the Celtics entertaining? Are they a boring team for you? Because for some they are. Was this an exciting series? Every game. Every game was. Every one of them. And it's, though they beat the Pacers. Yep, that's what happens when you're the best team in the regular season. That's what happens. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. We'll go to the calls. I'll read some of these chats coming up in a minute here. But let's talk to Joe, who's in the car. What's going on, Joe? You're on the Sports Hub.
Hey, Joe, what's going on? I love your show. I just wanted to ask you, would you consider this a failure if the Celtics don't win the championship, or would you say it's a success making it to the finals?
What do you think?
I'm asking you.
I'll give you my opinion, but I asked you as well.
I asked you first.
The Celtics got to where they are now. It's an accomplishment. They need to win the championship, and that's it. They need to win a championship. So, failure or not, I would say that right now they are exactly where we all thought they would be, and anything less than a championship's a disappointment.
I'm glad you said that. So, what are you excited about?
I'm excited about the Celtics beating either Dallas or Minnesota and winning the championship and raising it, proving to everybody that they have grown and that they are the best team in the NBA.
Okay, but you know that they still got to play 4 games against Dallas, right? At least 4 games.
Dallas or Dallas, Minnesota, right? Yes. Yep.
Well, you don't really think that Minnesota is going to win 4 straight. It's never happened.
Well, I don't know. I'm a betting man. I like odds. I mean, they're pretty good odds there.
Put your money on the Timberwolves and see what happens. Because you do realize that a team that's never won comes back in 03. You know that, right? In the NBA.
Yeah, Joe, I know my stuff, bro.
Okay, because you said, when I said, they're going to play Dallas, you're like, well,
it's not over yet.
They can play the Wolves. They can play the Wolves.
The series isn't over yet.
Okay, so we all know, but in reality, we all know that Dallas is going to win it. There's no way they're going to win. They're going to lose 4 straight. But anyway, I want to congratulate Jaylen Brown. By far, he was the MVP in the conference in the playoffs. I'm glad Jason Tatum took a back seat because he did not play again. I wasn't really impressed with his play in the playoffs. But I'm glad. I'm happy for Jaylen Brown. And the way you just came on and said how the Celtics came back in 3 out of the 4 games, I hope we don't have to do that against Dallas, because Dallas is a totally different team. Because Dallas, they have their star players playing on that team. The Halliburtons, the Brunsons, and the Mitchells, they're not hurt. You know what I mean? And we got Luka. They got Luka there playing with 1 foot. And I'm going to tell you something. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But like I said, I do want to see Banner 18. I've been a Celtics fan for all my life, but I just wouldn't get too excited though right now.
Thanks, Joe. I think they should celebrate this, guys. I think tonight is a night to celebrate. You got 9 days to worry about the NBA Finals. We'll find out who it is. I'm not here to say that I think Dallas has necessarily locked it up, but it looks like it's going to be them. Like, I don't know. Does Minnesota have any pride? Do they get swept? We'll find out tonight. I'd like to see that series get extended a little bit. I personally would like to see that. But I do think it's okay to celebrate going to the NBA Finals. That's a pretty big deal to me, if you ask. I mean, this is where this team wanted to be. They set a goal out, and here they are. It's okay to celebrate, right, Skaz?
Yeah, I mean, making the NBA Finals is an accomplishment. Obviously, it's not the accomplishment. I am in the camp that at this point, it would be a failure if they lose the NBA Finals, but you still, they made it to the NBA Finals. That is an accomplishment. It's okay to celebrate that. That doesn't mean that, if they lose, we're going to be happy. It's a failure if they lose the NBA Finals.
That's a completely different
series.
Different. That's in 9 days.
Yeah, it's a long ways away.
I've heard before that there's a show you got to do every day. So the show today is a lot of people doubted this team. A lot of people. It's okay to have a chip on your shoulder. You know what? I said this last week. Rodney Harrison, when he played for the Patriots, nobody could think we could do it. I want that mentality. I want that. So if Jaylen Brown feels like he's slighted, good. If Jaylen Brown feels like he should have been all defensive, good. If Jaylen Brown feels like he should have been on some sort of team or on some sort of all-NBA team, I like that. I like that. I want a chip. I want someone to have a chip. Right? Jason Tatum was really consistent all playoff long. Yet people want to look at how bad he shot. I thought he did a lot of different things. I thought at times he played out of position and literally was playing center for the Celtics. But he was still shooting shots, and I think, his shot wasn't great. But you know what? He did so many other things to make his team better. I wish I could give you an area where I thought the Celtics struggled. I do. The Pacers at one point went 12 or 14 on shots. They hit 12 out of 14 straight shots in Game 3. I thought they were a good team. But when it mattered, they didn't have a guy. They didn't have somebody who wanted the ball. They didn't have someone who, with their clutch gene, they turned the ball over. All the things that people have said about the Celtics for years happened to the Pacers. Oh, and their coach sucked. Oh, the coach has won a championship before. Won it as a player. It's okay to celebrate making the NBA Finals. Everybody knows what the ultimate goal is. Everybody knows. But I think they've shown growth throughout this playoff, whether you take it for what it's worth or not. And if they take on Dallas, trust me, I've watched enough of Dallas. Luka's great. Kyrie's great. Give me a fourth name on the team. Give me a guy that's going to do something outside of those two, please. Please. And if you want to look at Minnesota, I actually think they're a more difficult challenge. I have the odds for you coming up in a little bit, by the way. You'd be interested to know who'd be favored. Or what the number is compared to Dallas and Minnesota. We'll get into all that. We'll hit a sports up headlines here. I see you guys lined up on the phone lines at 617-779-0985. And Jaylen Brown named Eastern Conference MVP, and I have the vote. I want to get into that, Skess. We'll do that coming up next after the headlines. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
The Celtics have advanced. Saturday and Monday, I wasn't here. How was your day yesterday, guys?
It was good. Yeah, McCarthy was here. We had Jay Stu joined us for the first half hour.
So I got a text from somebody saying, "Where are you? Why is Jay Stu on your show?" And I said, first off, bro, I'm off today. Second of all, Jay Stu's always welcome on the Joe Show.
Always welcome.
Always. So he had hot takes?
I mean, it was a very pro Celtics, hour and a half.
Oh, really?
It was
okay. If you were to, because I like a pie, right? I like the pie breakdowns.
How's it made, though? Do you care? Do you care how?
I don't care how the pie is made. All I want is that it shows up already cut in front of me. Right? That's all I care about. I want it cooked and ready to go. Don't care how it's made. Don't care how it got there. I don't care. Put it in front of me. Anyways, if we were given a pie, what percentage of the public would you say has been pro Celtics?
Nationally?
Yes, everything. I'm talking national, media, local, radio.
I'd probably say 30 to 35%, probably.
Pro Celtic.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
I think it's Boston, first of all. People are sick of us, being in these spots, and I think it's.
What about sick of the Celtics being in this situation and not winning?
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's Boston, and it's this team constantly doing this and not getting over the hump, so it's held against them, rightfully so in some ways.
Kind of like how people feel about the Bruins. Kind of like, the Bruins will blow it anyways.
I think it's a little different. Bruins older core, 1-1. Celtics, it's this young core that seems to keep getting there and not being able to come through. But yeah, I think the national perspective has been they've had it easy. They're just now they're just doing what they were supposed to do, which to me is a good thing. But I think it's being spun as a negative.
Winning this series now in the NBA Finals, what would you say the pie's at? I'd say 55%.
Yeah, it's probably right around there.
55%? There's still doubters. There's still people who take the field.
I think a lot of people say they haven't been tested yet. That seems to be one of the bigger narratives.
Well, let me ask you this. Take the Pacers out of it. When you're down in the third quarter, or when you're down by 8 points or less in the fourth quarter, is it a good thing that you came back to win or a bad thing?
Tough question there. I'm going to go with good thing.
Does it matter how bad you played until the end of the game?
If you win, it doesn't matter.
Let me give you one. All right, I used to work in sales and a tech job, and they would always wheel out. They used to wheel out the old, when you were in school back at CM. Our guy Kevin, you remember when they wheel in the TV, to watch something? We don't have that anymore. They got nice projection screens. And they would always show, like, at the beginning of the month, sometimes people go on these huge sales streaks because it's all the carryover and hard work that they did the month before, but it starts paying off towards the next month.
We talking sweeps week here?
Exactly, yes, even sweep. So they always would show this video of this man that got a real slow start in this race and how, like, he just started slow and he was falling and he took a big, he just struggled the whole entire race. But he just stuck with it and kept going. And when you watch the video, you see the guy win. You saw him win. So again, you'll have your stumbles. You'll have your falls. You'll be trailing from behind. And I hate to be motivational Joe right now. I just dropped a motivational Joe video on you. But it inspired me. And it reminds me of the Celtics. They were too young. They weren't ready. They lost to Steph Curry and the Warriors. They had a chance, right? They were there. The talent was there. They had no business winning that. Last year, absolute choke job, and I don't want to give them an excuse. They lost their coach. They had a coach who had no clue what he was doing. Marcus Smart was way too involved, right? They were leaning on Grant Williams. And Robert Williams, they couldn't even lean on. The team is different. It's grown. It's matured. It's better. All the moves they've made literally have them in this spot to where we all thought they would be. So that racer I was telling you about, they've had their bumps. They're now at the front of the line, ready to close it out at the end. There'll still be a final boss there. There's still 4 more wins this team needs to get. They're still not over that hump. They're still not. It's all there. But you mean to tell me they don't know that? You mean to tell me they don't feel it? You mean to tell me they don't want it? They literally made the mention of starving. They're starving. They want it. I haven't seen a chip on this team's shoulder in years. I haven't seen anyone starving to win like this team. Being in this market, when is the last time you've seen a team starving for a victory? Maybe the Seahawks Super Bowl? They starved for that thing. Starved. It was 10 years. I haven't seen a team starve with a chip on their shoulder in a long time, and generally when those things happen, they win. So why am I celebrating it? Because I think they're 4 wins away from raising a banner. That's why I'm celebrating tonight.
Yeah, and for me, this team is different. This is not the Celtics of a couple of years ago or even last year. The Celtics of last year, 2 years ago, whatever, they lose those close games down the stretch. They make the wrong decisions. But now you have Drew Holiday. You have Derek White, who's been here for a little while. Tatum and Brown are growing. Horford has been huge with Porzingis out. This team feels different. And I think that's what you should be looking at, what you should be celebrating is in years prior, they lose these games.
They would have lost all 3 of those games a year ago. They'd be down 3-1 in the series right now if this was last year. And they'd be choking it to who? The Pacers.
Andrew Nembhard.
They would have choked this thing a year ago. I saw the difference. I saw Drew Holiday in back-to-back games play some of the best defense I've ever seen a Celtic play. Chasing on defense, squaring up, getting in front of the ball, holding his position, and then stealing it and getting fouled. They didn't have that guy last year. They did not have that guy last year. I'll get back to the calls here at 617-779-0985. And please, if anybody at NBC Sports Boston is listening, these lights got to go. I'm I'm waving. I feel like I'm the inflatable crazy man right now. So my eyes are crossed. Eric.
Oh. Hey, how have you guys been? I'm sorry.
How you doing? How you good?
I'm all right. Doing? Listen, I'm all right. I'm loving everything that's going on. I 100% agree with you guys. I just love how the narrative keeps shifting. Now I got to hear people say that the Mavs are going to be the biggest test, which may not be a lie. In my heart, I don't think the Mavs match up well, nor do I think the series is over. I think the Timberwolves, I won't put my money on it, but I think they can come back and win. I still think they're a better team, somewhat of an inverse sweep. But I think this series is going to go 6 at the very least. But the Mavs, they played the Clippers, which is a playoff P, and an old broken down James Harden. They played the young OKC team, and this Timberwolves one would be impressive, but I just don't think their road has been that much more impressive than the Celtics. And when we talk about the Pacers, right, it's not like the Pacers weren't scoring. They were still putting up ridiculous amount of points. It's not like they were missing offense. Unless you want to tell me Tyrese Halliburton is this all-star, all-NBA defender, that would have made a huge difference. They weren't lacking for points. And you would have to convince me at the end of the games that he wouldn't have made just as bad decisions when a guy has a ton of turnovers. My heart just says the Celtics are in great shape. People need to stop overreacting, and the national hate is insane because if you just look at the matchup, we played Kyrie really well in the playoffs the last couple of years. The Celtics played alongside him. They know how to play him. We swept the Nets when he was there. It's just everything would point towards the Celtics. Unless you want to tell me Luka is like night or head and shoulders better than Durant, I just don't see how the Nets team, is that much different than the Mavs. I think the Celtics are in great shape. I'm sorry, I know I went a couple of different places.
No, I like the comparison. Everybody thought that the Celtics would struggle against that Nets team. They swept them in 3.
Yep.
By the way, who had the game-winning basket to close out the series?
For the
Celtics, it was Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum. Yep.
People said that he didn't have clutch shots, so I just wanted to remind everybody.
Love that.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you, bro. Emmanuel says that he did the motivational video work for you. in life. So let's hear this, Emmanuel. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good. No, I didn't say I did it. I heard your story, so I wanted to know, how does the story end? You see this video, you get motivated. What happens? Did it work for you?
He won, yeah. And you know what it helped me do? To be honest with you, I mentioned. Do you work in sales?
I used to.
Okay, so what you would generally do is you'd ramp up, right? You'd make all these calls, you get going, and eventually to the point where you start closing deals and you get a quota. Well, you all that work that you've done will pay off eventually. But if you lay back and chill out, well, all that hard work, all those deals stop coming through. Now you got to start farming again, right? You got to start literally farming all over. And if you're not continuing to hustle hard and do your thing, the results aren't going to continue to get high, especially when you close out one month. You go to the next month, you need to keep ramping up. So whatever you get for this month, you got to start thinking about the following month. That's exactly how it is on a football season or a sports season in general. But like that motivational video, this Celtics team, I hate to use a wrestling reference here, but Cody Rhodes wanted to finish his story, right? Finish the story. He did what his dad did, win the championship. He never won it. It's the same thing with the Celtics, this group here. They've gotten paid. They've gotten all the awards, the All-Star games, you name it. They're both of them. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to make $300 million apiece, right? Each. Without a championship, all that means nothing. And I guess my whole motivational video is you can have your bumps, but now it's time for the Celtics to finish their story.
I agree. And you should read the book Go for No. Very quick, but it's exactly what you talked about.
Go for no.
Yes. Keep on. Don't go for yes. If you go for yes, you're going to stop when you hit your quota.
Yes is the destination. No is how you get there. I have seen it.
Yes.
Go for no.
Book, but yes. Thank you,
Emmanuel.
Time,
See, I'm just trying to relate to y'all. I'll never forget working in a cube. They give you normally hated videos when they took you off the sales floor and you had to listen to something or watch something. If you actually took advantage of the time they gave you, you might have learned something. Go for no. Celtics going for no 18. I got the odds for you. Also, got some odds for you on what happened there at the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. One guy, I think, has a issue with Jason Tatum. I wonder if we can get him on. We'll tell you who that is coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray.
Watching right now on YouTube. Appreciate y'all. I got to get that out on my Insta. I'm Joe Murray if you want to follow me there. People talking about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. That's where I wanted to go here. If you were looking, I was actually shocked because just like Brown, because Tatum was the favorite. I was watching it all night. I like to live bet, and Tatum at one point was minus 1,200 to win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And I'll give you the numbers coming up in a little bit here, but that's surprising. Now, I think Drew Holiday should have got some votes. In the end, it was 5-4 for Tatum. But there's one guy who's never voted for Jason Tatum, and I don't know what it is. So here I am, Tim Bontemps. I'm asking you, sir, what is your issue with Jason Tatum? You didn't vote for him last year. You didn't vote for him for the Eastern Conference. Have you ever voted for Jason Tatum is my question for you, Mr. Bontemps. And if Tatum won, so what? Brown deserved it. I'm in. I'm in on Brown getting it. But one writer didn't vote for Tatum, and it's the same writer always over and over. Here's another one. Jaylen Brown's the first player to win the Conference Finals MVP after not making an All-NBA team. He's the first one ever to do that. Props to Jaylen Brown. Now, I do have your NBA Finals odds, and I wrote an article about it on 985thesportsup.com if you want to go check it out. But the odds are out. And right now, this is per DraftKings. If the Celtics were to take on Minnesota, if they came back to win this series, the Celtics would be minus 230. The Timberwolves would be plus 190. If the Celtics faced Dallas, the Celtics would be minus 225. Dallas would be plus 185. It doesn't matter who they play. Vegas has them winning. Heavy favorites. Heavy favorites. So to me, I'm going to celebrate them getting here. And they're 4 wins away. 4 wins away. But I thought the series odds were indicative of whether it's the Mavericks or Timberwolves, the Celtics are going to roll. But there's storylines here for sure, right? Dallas, I think we know. The Kyrie Irving stuff is real. I've called him the final boss. Skaz made a funny wrestling analogy earlier in the day. It's Kristaps Porzingis, the Undertaker. Played for Dallas, right? All of a sudden comes off the bench to help them win a championship. Wrestling reference for those who don't know. Minnesota, though, it's Anthony Edwards, right? The other thing is this. If it is Dallas, let's say, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. One of those 3 are going to win a championship. To me, I think it's the Celtics all the way. I won't give you a breakdown of the Dallas Mavericks, but I ask you again. After Doncic and after Irving, I'll give you P.J. Washington, who they made in the trade. Give me another scorer for them. Give me somebody else that can go point for point with the Boston Celtics. Because here's the deal. Tatum doesn't have to be great. Brown doesn't have to be great. They don't. To beat the Mavericks or Wolves, they don't have to be great. But for the Mavericks, outside of Irving and Doncic, they won't let. PJ Washington can do whatever he wants, right? What are you going to give me? Derek Jones out. Lively's hurt, and they got this kid Gafford that's helped out a little bit, but Dallas is not a good team. In my opinion, they would get rolled in 5 games. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. Wanted to give credit for someone who put this whole thing together. We'll do all that after we get to the headlines. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
WBCFM HD1 bus from the Town Fair Tire Studio, the home of the Bruins, Patriots, Revs, and Celtics.
Come on, Max, step back. 3 is good.
Boston's home for sports is 98.5 The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Celtics going to the NBA Finals. They'll take on the winner of tonight, or the winner of the Western Conference between the up 3-0 Mavericks or Minnesota Timberwolves. Also, you got the Rangers and Panthers about to get underway in the NHL. Drake May has signed his rookie contract with the Patriots. Nico Collins has signed an extension with the Texans, 3 years worth $72 million. And the Red Sox lead Baltimore 4-3 right now in the top of the sixth inning. Brian Bayo, 7 strikeouts, 82 pitches through 5 innings. We've gotten home runs from Wilyer Abreu, also Rafael Devers with an RBI to go up 4-3. Headlines, they are brought to you by Cape Cod Lumber and CCL Homescapes, 100% employee-owned. Your go-to independent lumber yard. Partner with CCL and CCL Homescapes for all your building needs. Riding Abington. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
Al Horford.
This is Al Horford.
Al Horford catching slam. Horford for 3.
You're listening to the home of Boston Celtics basketball. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Holiday dribbling low, attacking Toppin, gets in pretty deep. Pump fake, puts it off the window and in. Scored in the foul. It's late fourth quarter time, so here comes Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday, this time a little pump fake. Got his man up in there, got him at the popcorn popper, goes right to the body, lays it up softly.
Rabbit hole of a guy we knew was dead or alive. We should do that for a segment some night. Dead or alive?
I don't know, Joe. I'm getting nervous to do any segments like that with you. You have a track record, I would say.
Happened again this weekend. Saturday night, I'm watching the Celtics game. And the question was posed to me, Joe, what do you think they do with Porzingis? And I said, well, you can treat it like Bill Walton in the 86 finals. And I woke up to Bill Walton's death.
I'm starting to get nervous when you say my name on the air.
And my immediate thought was, I'm the Reaper.
It's not the first time.
It's not going to be the last either. I'm driving to the Cape one day, and I'm listening to Jimmy Buffett. Wake up the next day, and Buffett's gone. It's been bad. I'm not proud of it whatsoever. By the way, one thing about Bill Walton before we get into things, I'm 42. I didn't have a chance to really watch Bill Walton's career, but I've read books from John Wooden and how just a great of a college player he was, a recruit, ultimate team player, gets drafted, helps win a championship in Portland. Obviously dealt with foot injuries for years, asked to be let go, didn't feel like, they were doing him any favors. He goes to the Clippers in San Diego at the time. And he was just a meh player. And then plays 2 years in Boston and wins the championship. But I know him as a color commentator, and if there was anyone who was a spokesperson for the Conference of Champions in the Pac-12, there was nobody bigger than Bill Walton. And yeah, he called college basketball games, but I saw him everywhere. I saw him at football games. I saw him at any, if it was not even UCLA, he was at all the Arizona games, you name it. But I this was the end of the Pac-12 this year. And it's just a little, to me, it's a coincidence that the Pac-12 ended, the Conference of Champions ended, and Bill Walton's life ended. And it's just, that was his life. The Pac-12, everything that happened in that conference. I'm on record saying that was the best conference in college football last year. I agree. But I absolutely love Bill Walton. Colorful guy. I don't like the Grateful Dead, but I'm ignorant about it because I don't know enough. But anyone who will wear a tie-dye shirt, that will eat a cupcake while the candle is still burning, and will, get a little weird, in on Bill Walton. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. I want to give credit to Brad Stevens because he made the moves, but really, I want to give credit to the ownership. Lots of respect for Wyc Grousbeck. I'm starting at Wyc because last year he wanted a team with balls. So what do? They went out and got Sam Cassell, the guy who literally did the dance. They had to build around Joe Mazzulla. They invested in him. They gave him an extension. The players liked him. They couldn't have moved on from him. So what do? They build around him. They get Charles Lee. They bring in Van Gundy. They had a hell of a staff this year. He was not happy after the Game 7 loss to Miami a year ago. He demanded changes to the team. So what does Brad Stevens go out and do? He brings in Kristaps Porzingis and trades Marcus Smart. They couldn't really do anything with Malcolm Brogdon. They have to throw Rob Williams in the deal, who they groomed. So they go out and get Drew Holiday. I can't tell you enough the upgrade to Drew Holiday to this roster. And it's easy for me to crap all over Marcus Smart. But people overrated him. Drew Holiday is 5 times the defender that Marcus Smart is. And again, I don't want to sit here and crush Smart. I've done it for a very long time. The team needed an upgrade there. They got the perfect guy, the guy who would fit into any role, who can play the post, dribble, point guard. There were times when they were down, they let Drew Holiday be the guy, the point man. It worked. But Brad Stevens pushed the buttons. Ownership demanded changes. Every one of them was a hit for the most part. Wyc is an owner who cares about his team, spends the money, and demanded change and a good performance, and here they are. And they're going to go over the luxury tax. They're going over the aprons. They're locking up the young players. They've locked up Porzingis. They've locked up Drew Holiday. Derek White's next. They continue to draft. They're not stopping here. Winning a championship, I don't think they'll be a one and done. Now, this is something to look at later on if they go on to win the championship, is can they repeat? But I just look at it and say, a lot of respect for Wyc Grousbeck and the changes he demanded, and Brad Stevens for pushing all the buttons. Remember, Stevens was a coach here, knew they needed some upgrades and changes, went out and did so. Can't say enough for ownership getting behind him, Stevens for making the moves, putting people around Joe Mazzulla so you don't just fire another NBA coach. So props to ownership of the Boston Celtics. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. Benny's in Oxford. Hey, Benny.
Hey, Joe. What's going on, man?
What's up, bro?
Just happy we got another finals appearance, man. Another 12-2, record so far. But sense my sarcasm a little bit. I don't know how we can really celebrate this. We didn't beat any 50-win team in the playoff run so far. We didn't dismantle 6 teams in a row. We only had 3 clutch wins against a team missing their best player. I don't know what else people expected or wanted from this team. If I could touch upon that Drew Holiday, Marcus Smart thing really quick. The defense was an upgrade from Drew Holiday from Marcus Smart, but I think the bigger upgrade was obviously the offensive side, just not seeing some of the forced threes that Marcus Smart would have taken instead of moving the ball, or Marcus Smart flops when driving. I think about Game 3, I think it was, where Drew Holiday had that clutch and one. I can see Marcus Smart flopping and going halfway out of bounds and throwing something up instead of trying to finish through contact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's been a much different defensive player, but you're absolutely right. He's probably 5 times better than Smart as an offensive player.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I'm happy JB got the award. I toss up for me. I wouldn't have been upset seeing JT win it, but JB just played his ass off. This series, a potential finals matchup against the Mavs. I'm just assuming they finish off Minnesota tonight or in Game 5. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, they'll be the best team we'll face all playoffs. But I just see that we just match up so well against them. I'm not crazy worried about them. I get Luka and Kyrie on offensive end are crazy, but they're going to have to defend. You can't hide them on defense like they're doing against Minnesota right now.
Yep.
One of them has to guard Jaylen Brown or Drew Holiday or Derek White on that side, and they're not just going to let you sleep. You saw what Jaylen Brown did to Luka Doncic still up 2 matchups this year.
Who defends Jason Tatum on that team?
I'm assuming they put P.J. Washington on him.
Yep, that's fine. Yep.
But now who guards Jaylen Brown? Josh Green? No, I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, I don't think they're the best team that they'll see in the playoffs. I don't.
I'm just saying compared to what we've already seen.
I think the Cavs were better, and I think the Pacers were better.
All right. I mean, that's up for debate. Again, I'm with you. More so, like I'm just not. Some of these guys are saying Dallas in 6 all of a sudden, or Dallas is this power. I'm just like, where do you see that? Where do you see that? The best team in the NBA all season is proving they're the best team still. And granted, injuries, blah, blah, blah. They can only play who's in front of them. They're doing what they've been showing us all year. So now we're supposed to penalize the Celtics?
There you go. Good call, my man, Benny. Appreciate you. Anything on that, Skaz?
No, I think Benny brings up a lot of good points, and I know he was, being facetious, playing on the narrative that the Celtics haven't played any 50-win teams this postseason, which seems to be a new. Don't remember hearing that earlier in the playoffs or before the finals that you had to beat a 50-win team for you to be battle tested. And just on that last year, since the Celtics are in the finals, how about the Denver Nuggets last year? Did anyone put an asterisk on that ring, or was there any talk about their path or anything like that?
All we ever talked about was the 2-man game between
Jokic and Murray. I don't remember anyone questioning that 1 ounce. They played an 8-seeded Timberwolves, who were 42-40. They played a 4-seeded Suns team, who was not good in the second round, and they played a 7-seeded Lakers team in the Western Conference Finals, and then played an 8-seed in the finals. And we didn't hear one peep about that being a Mickey Mouse title or no competition. So I get it. The Celtics are going to face criticism, but the constant moving of the goalposts, it's exhausting. What are we doing? The Celtics have played the competition. They're 12-2. They're doing everything that should be done, showing they can win clutch games, and now we're just moving goalposts to try and fit narratives.
This is what I think they have to do. They have to just blow out whoever they play in every single game with no close games.
Even then, people would say, the Mavs were a 5-seed. They're
a 5-seed. Who do they have after Luka and Kyrie?
Exactly. So, I don't care how it happens. I don't care.
And I think
if the Celtics win the title, they'll be considered one of the best teams ever. 64 wins. Look at their net rating. I don't care about the path.
They all said that after the game.
No one.
Hey, who do you care? I don't care. They were all like, we don't care.
No one mentioned the path one time for the Nuggets last year. An 8-seed, a 4-seed, a 7-seed, and then an 8-seed in the finals. No one mentioned it. But because it's the Celtics, because it's this group of guys that haven't done it, just wait. We're 9 days away from this thing. The storylines, the goalposts, they're just going to keep moving.
I wonder who can kick the longest field goal on the Celtics.
You figure, Drew Holiday's his wife, obviously, one of the best soccer players in the country.
Yeah, I'd go Drew.
I figure he's got to at least have some reps out there.
He's good. I wonder if Hauser, I don't know why, I feel like he could play soccer. We're going to, let's think of a big boy. Could Tillman kick it? How about Porzingis?
No, we don't need him doing anything.
We don't need him doing anything at all. Can Horford kick? Right? Someone. I wonder who can kick. We can take a break. Hey, see you guys on the phones here at 617-779-0985. I see you on the YouTube chat as well. We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. That's Skaz. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
right, back here in 98.5, the Sports Hub of Joe Murray. We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. See our friends in the YouTube chat tonight. 82 people right now. I got to get that going up a little bit. Got to get more people in the chat. There's a guy named Chip and Steve. Is that Chip and Steve? Or is Chip and Steve like Chip and a guy named Steve who chips? That's one I'd like to know. Einbein's in there talking about the 87 Lakers. Considered one of the greatest teams of all time. Played 3 teams with a 500 or lower record to get to the finals. He calls it nonsensical for the people who mention who the Celtics played in that one. Someone's asking for my sunglasses. It is bright in here. The TV lights are still on. I got my parcels in the car, but I'm not going to make the intern on his first day run out to my car. I don't know if he'll come back. I don't know. Those West Roxbury kids, Skaz, you know. Got to watch out for those kids. 617-779-0985. Drew Holiday has been the difference. Drew Holiday, to me, I didn't realize it, but when he came to the Celtics, do you know how many people said he choked in the playoffs? Like, I heard so many people say, oh, he was bad in the playoffs last year. And, like, I actually heard he was not a fit. And, yeah, at times this year, they even asked him, you know, during the game, they were like, hey, you're playing hurt, you're playing sick, or whatever it is. How are you fighting through this? And he goes, it's game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and then shrugged his shoulders. I thought that was great. And then he goes, yeah, you know, for a long time here, I was just trying to find my groove and try to find out where I fit in. It was hard at times, but it was also enjoyable. And now he's starting to show what he can do. I'm truly impressed with Drew Holiday. And to the last caller's point, Benny, the Marcus Smart Drew Holiday thing, let's have a conversation about this one, people. Let's do it. Marcus Smart was drafted by the Celtics, 6th overall. Nice player. They developed him. One of the best defensive players in the league. But I'm watching Rudy Gobert, you know, for Minnesota right now, defensive player of the year, and he's not doing well.
That's his coach's fault, but yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah, the switch. They switched on him. It was dumb.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes that's overrated. Like, Drew Holiday is a hell of a defender. Derek White is a hell of a defender. Jaylen Brown is too. He doesn't need to be all defensive. He wanted it, but doesn't need it. These guys just don't need it. They want it. They don't need it. But the Marcus Smart angle, thinking about Missoula ball and the way they shoot the 3 and everything like that, he's just the wrong player. He was overhyped here. He was overrated here. Let's flat out say it. He halted Jaylen Brown's development. I said it. He is the one who halted Jaylen Brown's development. Not Jason Tatum. Not Rob Williams. Not any of these guys. Smart got in the way. Smart wanted to be the leader. Smart knew they needed an alpha, though. Right? He thought they needed an alpha. He wasn't the right guy. And it's not like Drew Holiday. Thank you, NBC Sports. It's not like Drew Holiday's this rah-rah guy either. Kind of like a quiet, silent assassin, right? Just the Marcus Smart stuff. For years, I didn't like the guy. I slandered him. I thought he was, at times, the guy that was just in the way. I'll just go back to last year, Game 6, game on the line. It's Smart who takes the shot. And at times, I don't want to crap all over Smart because Tatum wasn't taking the bull by the horn. You know, Jaylen Brown peed down his leg in a Game 7 last year. So Smart maybe felt like he had to be the guy, had to be the alpha. So in a way, I don't want to blame him. He's just not talented enough.
I think that's really what it is Holiday and Smart are similar in a lot of ways. Smart would often make the right decision, try and make the right play. He would rush shots early in the shot clock, take threes he shouldn't have. But the main difference for me is Holiday has the ability to make all those decisions and execute them. Smart would make a lot of the decisions, but he wouldn't be able to execute them. Holiday is more seasoned, better under pressure. His basketball instincts are maybe the best in the league. And that's just something that Smart was good at, but Holiday is great at.
No, it's just there's some guys that are max players, and there are some guys who aren't. Smart wants to be a max player, wants to be the alpha, wants to be the leader. There's nothing wrong with that. He's just not talented enough. And I think we're seeing it now. We're seeing it now with this team. 617-779-0985. Let's talk to Rob, who's in Methuen. Hey, Rob.
Yo, Big Joe Money, what's good, my brother?
What's up, bro?
Hey, I've been cleaning up on some bets. First off, futures, let's go Celtics Panthers, especially if the Panthers win tonight. New York Rangers goalie been standing on his head. I don't know if he can keep doing that. But otherwise, the Horford, they've had him at 2.5 on three-pointers, which I've been eating up in my parlays, and I've been taking the Derek White over. So obviously, you got to wait to see what the points are. But if they keep doing Horford 2.5, I'm taking the under all the way to the bank, sir.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to hear that you've been cleaning up. You know, have the Celtics covered? I think they covered one game, right? Of the 4 games they played, yeah, because they lost game 1. They didn't cover last night. And they didn't cover game 3. There's another narrative. The Celtics didn't cover. They swept, but they didn't cover the games. You're not good unless you cover.
Good teams win. Great teams
cover. They're not great yet. That's right. You know what? Fine. Now they'll just have to cover every game. Skaz, they're going to front run whoever they play in the finals. I'm talking win by 20 plus. They're going to roll them. Roll them. No more close games. Just roll your boat.
Maybe if your guy Sam Hauser could hit a couple shots, they'd, have a lead in these games.
But you see Tatum, that leader, going over to him. Who said that? I was watching the game last night. Was it Doris Burke? I don't know who it was. But you know what? The Hauser party, for one, I'm still there. I've lost some friends, though.
I was going to say the table's getting lonely.
Yeah, no, more muffins for me.
I believe Jay Stu was he was a Hauser party guy, but he did backtrack a little yesterday. Oh boy.
No cough button.
The Hauser talk. Didn't like it.
It was like I choked up on my Hauser party for one. So random take, I collect cards, and I got this Sam Hauser autographed numbered card. Been holding it for a little while. So he hit the 3 last night. I go, here we go. I'm going to unleash this bad boy once he goes off. So, guys, there will be the Hauser game. I don't know when. It's going to happen. And I do have those Sam Hauser cards autographed. Let's talk to somebody who's underestimating Jones Jr. Sir, your name is?
My name is Colin.
Hey, Colin.
Yeah, how you doing? I just wanted to say, I feel like, people are underestimating Dallas a little bit, and some of the matchups could be a problem with us, specifically their bigs with Gafford and Lively, if hopefully he's okay. And, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
I think Gafford is a fringe player, and I think Lively's played well with the injury to Kleber.
Yeah, Kleber's coming back, by the way. I think, their size might hamper us a little bit, but we'll see.
Is he back? Is he coming back?
He's supposed to play tonight.
Now, that dude can shoot.
Yeah, for sure. He can space up the defense.
He's more of a difference maker than Jones or any of those guys.
I think Jones can defend, personally, especially the wings.
He's okay. Derek Jones, fine player, but 9 points a game, does whatever.
His offense is weak. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
He's okay, but just look at he had 51 blocks this year, actually, and 53 steals. Not bad. Much better defender than he was before. Listen, whoever they defend on the side, I just feel like it's a tough matchup. I feel like it's a tough matchup. Stephen Peabody.
What's up there, buddy boy? Hey, I want to thank the Celtics for giving me not just 1, but 2 weeks off until June 6th when I have to go back to work for Game 1.
Well, listen, I was about to ask you. It sounds like you got some time off.
Yep. Worked last Thursday night naturally and waited to games 3 and 4. And after they went 3-0, I said, well, we'll see what happens Monday. If they lose, I'll be back Wednesday. If not, I get an extra week off. And I want to thank them, give them an opportunity to relax and get some rest. And hopefully we will be raising a banner 18 this
What do you think you're going to do? You think if they raise it in Boston, you're going to run on the court?
No, I can't. I couldn't get down there fast enough.
Well, I mean, they might be there all night.
Well, that's another thing, and it depends on who my customers might be. They could be drinking champagne for all I know. Hey, one other quick thing. Yep. Hockey, I'm a real hockey nut. I'm watching the playoffs here. The other night, Edmonton, only had no shots for over 14 minutes in the game, and this team only had 3 shots in one period, and everybody was all over the Bruins about not getting enough shots. It's league-wide. It's just not a Bruins problem.
All right. You heard it from Steve, who has time off now with nobody at the Garden.
Talk to you soon, Ace.
All right, Steve. Appreciate you. How about that? The Celtics giving the staff at the Garden some time off. 90-degree weather today. Great weekend. Good for them. Good for them. All right, well, you want to take a breather here? Or should we relive May 27th? And what a special day that is for Derek White. We'll do all that coming up. But first, let's get the Sports Hub headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Hockey. All right, back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub of Joe Murray. We got In or Out coming up in just about 10 minutes. I know Skaz has been working on those. By the way, you can always send those in to us. How about just on our YouTube chat? Just throw it right in the chat right in there. Someone asked, Joe, are you still laughing from the Wheel of Fortune segment the other night? Yes. I talked about that thing all weekend long. Tatum has been playing terrific defense this playoff. You damn right he has. He's playing the 5. For those that don't know, that's center. Joe, you look nothing like you sound. So what did you think I looked like? I'm kind of curious. What did you think I looked like? Did you think I was like a smaller man? What did you think I looked like, Skaz, when you met me?
I don't know, the voice. I think it fits. It wasn't jarring or anything like that. It was Joe Murray. It's kind of what I expected.
And again, just to let our listeners know, and I know our interns, if he's walking around, he might. I don't know if he knows that story yet. Kevin from West Roxbury, Quinnipiac. How'd that go when you saw us today meet for the first time? Two city kids. That was funny, huh?
Oh, it was like you guys known each other forever, just rattling off people and places.
Speaking of rattling off in different places, at Tyler Milliken on X.
Yeah, maybe a not safe for work warning for people to go look at his Twitter page right now. I might have to set alerts for Zolak. He's going to have to chime in on this.
How do I respond to this? How do I?
I think you've said enough. I think you've said enough already.
Before we get to that, can you please let Kevin know where I first met Skaz? Skaz, where did we first meet?
The first time I met Joe Murray was at a Hooters.
True story. The one in Dedham. You been there, Kev?
Oh, yeah. He's been there. Said he was there a couple weeks ago.
There you go. See? Could have a show outing there. I know a guy, by the way, if we wanted to do that. So anyways, back to at Tyler Milliken on Twitter. Has anybody seen this? I wish, you know what I wish we could do? If we had another guy, it'd be great. But we could then put into the YouTube channel the actual picture we're discussing. So we gotta put that in there. If anybody hasn't seen this yet. Tyler Milliken doesn't have a shirt on. He's been showing his nipples all year long. He's got patches all over his body. He's not ashamed by any means. And by the way, Tyler, for a man to look like that at your age, good for you. A little bit of underboob going on, but you know. Why is he doing this?
I believe that if the Red Sox hit a triple, he is tarps off for triples.
So he will show his nipples when there are triples.
No comment.
Wow. Can this thing like catch like wildfire? Is Jared on this?
I think this is a solo Milliken mission.
No, it's fine if it's him. But what if people started getting behind it?
I hope they don't.
I don't know, Skaz.
Joe, you going to start popping your top if the Red Sox hit triples?
The only time you're going to see these nipples is at Dennisport in the summer, all right, or on Gloucester. Like, I let it all hang out. He's going to let the nipples for triples. This is like a nipples for triples campaign. Is this Zoe's gonna eat this up?
I have set Twitter alerts on for Scott Zolak. I'm anxiously awaiting his next tweet.
Nipples for triples.
I feel like I should be using the dump button back here.
I'll tell you this. Any man who takes off his shirt, who might feel uncomfortable, I give you credit for that, sir.
But would that be considered a thirst trap for Milliken? Is that like a Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola thirst trap?
The only thing he's missing is his gold fever wings from the 99.
I don't know if they want that advertising.
Kids eat free, nipples for triples. Good for him. The funny thing was, is Skaz goes, please look at Slack. And I saw his shirt off, and I went, what the hell is going on? Can we start a GoFundMe for Milliken's makeover, says Artie. Nipples for triples. What a great... Nipples for triples. Nipples for triples. I am hashtagging this thing. This is... Now, I hope nobody takes it from me. Unless he wants to do it for charity. It reminds me of the Big Ones cover from, back when we had CDs back in the day. Aerosmith had an album called Big Ones. And it was everybody's nipple on the CD cover. Nipples for triples! Who hit the triple? I'll tell you who hit the triple. Hang on. Rafael Devers. Oh! What if there are 2 triples in one game? Because he already has his shirt off. What if another triple happens?
I'm trying to move on.
What else are we taking off?
I'm pleading the fifth on this one.
Ripples for Twitter. We got In or Out coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Don't go any.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is free. And I'm trying to. And he won one. But Rodriguez admitted he never considered. Union declined the voluntary payout. Instead, the Yankees said, "We'll pay it. We'll pay it. Give us A-Rod. We'll pay it." And it happened. That's how it happened. So the Red Sox had a deal in place. He wouldn't take a pay cut. He took a pay cut. The union wouldn't do it. We only give you factual information on this show, so that's what we're going to do here. And the winner of 2023, Alex. Mistake. Man, that pisses me off. You know that there was a trade for Sammy Sosa and Trot Nixon once, too?
That one I did not know.
But the strike vetoed it. The Red Sox would have had Sammy Sosa. Imagine that.
I loved Sammy Sosa when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, it's great now. Ben is in the car. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Joey, love your fire about the classic Yankees-Red Sox arms race, but you're missing maybe the biggest villain ever. Bernard Pollard took out Brady's knee. Pretty sure he took a cheap shot at Gronk one time, and he crushed Stephen Ridley, knocked him out cold, caused a fumble that ruined one of the playoff runs.
True.
Probably would have been another Super Bowl victory. Bernard Pollard single-handedly tried to ruin the dynasty.
What would Suggs or Pollard for you, though? I think Suggs felt like more to me. I know Pollard had a bigger impact.
Suggs was more of a character. Like, he was more of a caricature like that almost like a WWE thug character. But Bernard Pollard was the real villain. Like, he was the guy who would come up from behind. He was the hitman. Suggs was the mouthpiece.
Yeah. Is this Ben I worked with at 1510?
Absolutely, buddy.
How you doing, my man?
Good. I love hearing you at night, man.
Thanks. Yeah. Ben was a 1510 guy, Skaz. Are you still doing like play-by-play? I know you were doing some work in the biz still.
Yeah. Still pounding the colleges. You know, Ivy League, BC. You can find me on the plus every now and then.
Ben Alcher.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, man. Thanks for checking in, my man. Glad to hear you doing well.
Good to hear
buddy.
you, Joe. Take care, my man.
I knew the name. I was like, I know that guy. I know that voice. Bernard Pollard, you did say it's Skaz, so I kind of blew you off.
You were focused on other things.
Listen. The AR trade happened. Just can we agree that it happened, but the league vetoed it? It just like Chris Paul, the Lakers. All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I apologize. I was late. Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline right now. We'll welcome in Bobby Manning from CLNS. Covers the Celtics for them. Bobby, I went down a rabbit hole about nipples and A-Rod, and I'm sorry I'm late.
It's all good.
you had to process that one. I wonder how
yeah.
I wonder how I could relate that to the Celtics. But you were there. What was it like? Did you get any beer or champagne spread on you last night? Uh-oh. Bobby. It's a lot of static there, Bobby. He's on a landline, too. You know what I think it is? I think it's the cord that he's talking into. Let's try him again. Let's try him one more time. But now I want to know. Did Bobby get beer or champagne poured on him last night. I'd want to wear those cool goggles that they wear. You know when guys wear goggles at like a, when they're about to just celebrate and party? I'm in on that. I'm totally in on that. But he had a good phone. He had a landline. Skaz is trying to call him back. I bet you he's still talking, thinking that he's still on the air. And if we get him, we'll put him right back on. All right, we'll see if he calls back. Let's see what Jay in Gloucester's got to say. Hey, Jay.
Hey, how we doing, Joe?
Hey, I just lost Bobby Manning.
Yeah, that stinks. I'm not quite the replacement, but I'll do my best.
Please.
So another take for you, Joe. So I love the Drew Holiday over Marcus Smart. No offense to Marcus Smart. He was a dirt dog. He was great, Boston player. But Drew Holiday is really an upgrade in every which way. But the biggest way he's an upgrade is he was a winner. And that's something that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown never got to play with, was a real winner. Kyrie does not count. And Drew Holiday came in, and I like to compare it to, Mark Recchi when he came in for the Bruins. That was really the first time those guys got to play with a proven winner that was vocal. And then also with Kurt Schilling when he came to the Red Sox. I believe he did the same thing for that team. Pedro was obviously the better player, but Pedro had never won, and Kurt Schilling brought that attitude to the team, and I think that's what Drew Holiday brought.
All right, Jay, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. The Recchi Holiday comparison? I don't know. Bobby, apologize, bro. Did you get any champagne on you last night?
Yeah, I was saying there that the access to the celebration was obviously different than 2 years ago, which was fun. You got to see the guys interact, and you got to see a lot of the emotion there. And, it was sort of a stoic response to winning the East because obviously you got to get it done next round here, and they all understand that. But I definitely felt like the emotion of you thought you were just going to be back there automatically a year ago, and that wasn't the case. And now to actually do all the little things you had to do to get there, yeah, you saw a lot of emotion there, obviously from Jalen, Horford certainly, who was really excited about the win there, and then some of the newer guys on the run here too. So it was cool. I got into the locker room at like the late stages, just some guys taking pictures of the trophy. Sam Hauser shotgunned the beer, which was pretty funny, with one of the trainers. So that was all cool stuff to see. That was kind of the first series winning celebration I'd seen.
Yeah, and I just watching last night, and you saw a lot of the young guys a part of it. You saw the families a part of it. I thought that was important for the team last night. But Al Horford talked about being starving. I got that feeling last night. I felt like that they've accomplished something, but it's not over yet. And that I don't know, it seemed to kind of bleed through the team. Did you get that feeling on the fly home last night?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, they've had a take care of business kind of run here where there's not a lot of drama, that you didn't get the sense at all that they could lose over the first 3 rounds here, maybe individual games, so not these series by any means, but that's fine. I know that's a big conversation point right now, but you're in that with the regular season you have, and when you're 14, 15 games better than anyone in the conference, this is kind of what it looks like if you're playing your potential. And they've had slip-ups, certainly here, but they were this much better than the rest of the East. And certainly, I think my favorite thing I heard last night was Derek White saying, we have answers for everything any other team can throw at us. We just have to find those and get to those. And they may have stretches where they're trying to figure out what to get to, but once they do, they're able to really limit those runs against them or overcome deficits. And these last 2 games here were great because there was some real out there. You're down 18 on the road, you're down 8 on the road late. I think there's a 93% win probability in that game 3 late against Indy, down big there in the 4th. For the Pacers to win and to rally and pretty much score every possession you needed to down the stretch of that game was huge because there were certainly crunch time concerns with this team. So, more and more the coaching, the crunch time concerns, Tatum coming out of his drought, Brown being Brown, all the questions you would have about this team are just sort of being answered on the fly here.
All right, he's Bobby Manning, CLNS. I see him all the time. I see you everywhere. I see you with Missoula. Can you just talk about Missoula this playoff? I think he outcoached them all. Spoelstra, Carlisle, Bickerstaff, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, it was amazing to watch this series. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's coached almost 2,000 games in Carlisle and a guy who's coached less than 200 in Missoula here. And, the mistakes Rick made, not calling the timeout at the end of game one to advance the ball, being able to drop that play that got Brown the corner look there, going to some zone in game three when they had no way of slowing down the Pacers there. Like, there were just a lot of great wrinkles, a lot of great defensive matchup switches. Miles Turner goes off in game one. They put Tatum and Brown on him to just completely negate him for the rest of the series. Then defense, like the emphasis on defense this year, the scheming on defense this year improved drastically, and I'm sure some of the assistant hires they made helped in that sense. But you just sort of felt a renewed focus and saw a renewed focus on defense from Missoula this year, and certainly the offense showed some real flexibility here too, being able to go through different guys, whether it was Brown on that last play late in game four, Holiday getting more involved in the offense, White this whole year, even though he didn't have the best series here, hits the three at the end. So there's just a real poise from Missoula here. And, the big thing I'd say, Joe, that really permeated throughout this run to the finals here is his constant focus on the little things. They dominated teams on the boards. They got to the free throw line often more than their opponents. Just all those little things that kind of separate you over the course of a game played out in them separating from all these teams, because they played in some close games. They played in some games where they didn't shoot as well as the other team, and all those little things kind of added up, those little details toward them being able to steal a few here or there and make this run much more rest so far than it's been playing games. I can't believe the layoff that's ahead here, Joe. I don't know what the hell we're going to do.
I was just about to ask you that. I don't know what they're going to do over the next 9 days, but while we're on it, any update on Kristaps Porzingis, and he should be ready to go?
I would think so. 5.5 weeks after the injury. Like, that's the best part of this layoff here is you're going to be able to get him in multiple practices. You're going to start ramping him up. I think they've slowed down the progression a little bit here, especially with where they were in the series at this point. Like, there was just no need to really rush him back, especially without practice time. Last two series were every other day, so you don't really have, live action to kind of throw him out there in and get him ramped up with the regulars there. Derek White said it's going to be easy to throw him back into the action. I know Peyton Pritchard said on NBC there that he's close. So all that's optimistic. A lot of the reporting, too, out there that this is more just kind of caution than any setback or anything like that. And he's been around the team. You see him in the weight room just doing his work. Not a lot of visible workouts so far from him on the court the last week or two here, so that was kind of, eyebrow raising. But, just talking to guys, it does sound like he's close. Does sound like he's optimistic about this next series here, which is a week and a half away, fortunately, for his case. And in case you're worried, Joe, Luke Cornett's good as well, even though he didn't play last night.
Yeah, you saw a lot of Tillman, huh? So were they just trying to get him reps? Did they think he was the better matchup, or Cornette just wasn't ready?
I think you were just trying to do anything you could to slow the Pacers. And if it was just one extra guy who can switch and guard 3-4 positions, you were going to go to that. And he did a good job in Game 3, I thought. Both playing some zone out there, forcing some turnovers, being able to just stay in front of guys a little bit better than Luke could. And, I think Luke's been good this whole run, especially considering they don't have Porzingis out there at all for most of this, East run. So I think having that flexibility in the front court, and, of course, O'Shea Brissett, too, who was a little bit more switchable in that game, too, offensive rebounder, all that different kind of stuff. It's a great team. They really, back to that White point, like, they just have answers. They just have so much stuff they can go to. And the bench is a slight concern going into the finals here. They really haven't gotten much scoring from that group. But if you have your top six here, you probably do have enough in a tighter rotation to be able to beat the Mavericks or, whoever it's going to be at this point, probably Dallas.
One last thing. I was reading your article today about Jaylen Brown becoming the voice of the Celtics. We've seen the growth from him, right? He's the alpha on the team, and I think it works, him and Tatum. But can you just talk about a little bit how he's become the voice of the Celtics?
Yeah, I like how he compared himself to Smart last night. You feel that when he's talking, like he's just speaking his mind. He might say some stuff that's like the Michael Jordan comment the other night. That was funny. You're just not expecting a guy to say something like that, and he just kind of let it rip. Like, we didn't know what we were doing to slow these guys. Like, we couldn't figure it out at all, and they were just going off, and we just had to try anything we could. Derek White told me something similar too after that game. So I like the honesty. I like the pressure he's put on Tatum. And, I think it's kind of a healthy pressure he's put on him. Like, go attack Neesmith. Go get him. You got him one-on-one there. You go after him. Move. Like, that kind of stuff, when you hear him mic'd up, is awesome to hear. There was some real encouragement in that Cleveland series and those mic'd up moments that you heard. So just to hear his, comfort with speaking up, even in the post-game setting, when Tatum was really struggling early in the playoffs and had a bit of a bounce-back game in that second round, he was like, yeah, he found a rhythm tonight, but we need him to find even more of a rhythm. And, there's one thing when it comes from, all due respect, Smart, who's probably the third or fourth man on the roster, but when your co-star on the roster is challenging you in that way, I think that's great. And, I've tried to ask Tatum about it at different points, and he's gone more of the, everybody has a voice here, we can all speak up when we feel like we need to, rather than explicitly, praising the role Brown has had in that. But if you're listening to all these guys day in and day out, it's clear that the guy who's really putting the team's feet to the fire on any given night is Brown. And certainly his play's been up to par too, so that gives your voice a little bit more power when you're taking care of business out there like he has been. So I was thrilled. That would have been my vote, Joe. Him as East Finals MVP, and I think that was important for him to get some credit at this point, because he certainly didn't in any of the league voting there. And the guy is, I don't know where you want to put him. He's top 25 at the very least, players in the league. And at his best, he's in that top 15 range there. And he's been at that level more often than he hasn't been this year. His bounce back from the struggles late last postseason has really been the story of the team this playoffs.
All right, we're just about at halftime between Minnesota and Dallas, tied at 49. We were having some fun with this earlier tonight. I'll ask you, is Kyrie Irving a top 5 villain in Boston sports?
Yeah, certainly, especially in my lifetime. I think LeBron had his stretch in the first Cleveland run there. If we're talking basketball, Kobe comes to mind during those finals battles as well. But there's just certainly a different fervor going after Irving, and the way he exited, and just how gut-wrenching that year was, the 2019 there. And, for it to still exist 5 years later, and we really are well past it at this point, and he's changed teams again, and he's into his second season there in Dallas. And, when that series, if and when it happens, is going to be largely about him. And I don't know how much he's going to be able to diffuse that. I don't know how much Celtics fans are going to try to scale that back compared to past seasons, because part of me, Joe, does worry that, and, this goes to a conversation about their success at home versus the road here. And obviously they've had mixed results at home in these playoffs, and on the road they've been fantastic. I don't know if there's just a pressure that, the chants and that kind of stuff adds to them as a team. I've heard that maybe, the crowd going at the refs just increases their obsession with the officiating in some of those spots, or how it impacts their play. But there just seems to be a different level of pressure, and maybe even a motivation for the opponent when the crowd's going at a guy like Kyrie in that way. So I haven't been around the Mavericks, obviously, a lot this year. Obviously, I had a long conversation with Kyrie with Gary Washburn when they were here in January, and he just seemed to be in a different place at this point, even telling the fans they have a right to boo him, and, it's nothing personal there, and he's fine with it if that's what they want to do. So I don't know how much that kind of talk is going to scale things down. I just think, like you mentioned, they want to have a villain, and he's going to be that guy for eternity here, no matter how he approaches it at this point. But does that get him going? Does that rally Dallas around him? That is something, I don't know if you worry about it, Joe, but it's something I think about going into that series.
All right, well, they got to get there first. I still think Minnesota will keep it interesting. But he's Bobby Manning. Check out all his work at CLNS. I know you guys are going to have a ton of coverage as the Celtics are in the NBA Finals. And if it is Dallas and you go to Dallas, I got a barbecue recommendation. But we'll have when you're there, we'll have you back on to talk about the Finals, my man.
I am ready for the food talk with Dallas. Let's do it.
All right, he's Bobby Manning. Check him out, CLNS. Bobby, appreciate it, man. Good phone.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. He's Bobby Manning. And CLNS, for those who don't remember, I used to know them when they were the Celtics late night show. Now they're CLNS, and they are all over the Celtics coverage. So check out Bobby. They got a whole crew over there. And Taylor Kyle's another guy who does football for them. Mike Hadlick's there. Alex Barth used to work there. They're a breeding ground. Great talent over there. All right, we got to hit the headlines. I'll tell you what the score is at halftime right now between Dallas and Minnesota in headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
49. We've been talking Celtics all night. I know. I get it. Some people are Celtics out. But just one thing. Drake May signed his contract today. He's official. And there's also reports that Drake May's footwork is way better than people thought and could start sooner than later. So there's your Patriots Minute. Miles is in New Jersey. Hey, Miles.
Hey, Joe. How you doing? Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
How you doing?
So I'm definitely calling. I think that a lot of people need to talk about the Celtics more with Jaylen Brown's growth, Jason Tatum's decision-making. Instead of the shortcomings, I think that what he's really done over the last couple of weeks and throughout the year is really try to get more people involved, because I think that's our team's biggest strength, is getting everybody involved instead of focusing on one superstar, because I don't think that's what's going to get it done. I think that's been the mistake in the past. And watching this Mavs game versus Minnesota, I think people are quick to forget Minnesota was one of the worst offensive teams this year. And people are now quick to crown Dallas as this big juggernaut. I mean, and I personally, if they're going to finish this off tonight or even Thursday, and they're going to have a week off, I think it's going to benefit us because they're the hot hands and they may cool down. Not to cross sports, but it reminds me of in 2007 with the Red Sox. The Rockies were off for the whole week. Red Sox came in and swept them because they were hot. So I think the rest is going to help us. Porzingis being back, we'll have everybody full force. But the maturity has definitely grown so much this year. And I think that's what it is. They're now a complete team, and I think they're ready.
All right, man. Yeah, the rest is something interesting, Miles. I'll have to look into it. NBA teams with rest. How about that, Kevin? That's your first intern duty. Look up how rest has helped out teams in the NBA Finals. So right now there's 9 days for the Celtics. What's the difference between some of the others? Now, last year was probably quick because the Celtics and Heat went 7 games. But have there ever been 2 sweeps in a series where 2 teams meet? It's probably happened before. I don't know. We'll help you out. We got the musings coming up next. I watched a movie, and I have a news report that kind of reminds me of a movie. And we'll talk about Memorial Day weekend. We'll do all that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray. Get the musings!
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. It's Murray's Musings. For Kevin, our intern, this is where I complain about anything, including the cough button. But do you want a story or do you want my my review of Roadhouse the movie?
Oh, I would like to hear your review of Roadhouse the movie.
I saw Roadhouse. Jake Gyllenhaal was in it. I thought about Donnie Darko a couple of times. I thought about him dating Taylor Swift, which now is weird. It's weird, right? Dude, she wants her scarf back. Have you heard the song? But, like, isn't it weird that they dated and were 10 years apart? Weird. I don't know. I mean, I know people do that. Don't get me wrong. But, like, how do you not think of Jake Gyllenhaal and Taylor Swift? I guess maybe others didn't. He was like a UFC fighter, and he was still Dalton. It wasn't good. It shouldn't have been remade. Conor McGregor was okay in it. What else? It wasn't good?
No, not good.
I wouldn't waste your time.
Not even like, just looking for anything to watch, not worth it?
If you're looking for just something to watch, it's probably worth it.
Have you seen did you watch the Pop-Tart movie from Jerry Seinfeld?
I have not yet.
So I was going to ask, like, if you could. I haven't seen either, but I figured those are your two, I don't know, movies that have come out recently.
Didn't get much movie this weekend, but I got Roadhouse. I watched it. It was free on Amazon Prime because I have every single stream, as you know.
Oh, yes.
Every one of them. Because I don't cut the cord. I have them all. I have the cord and the streams. So, this is what the story I wanted to bring up. Have you ever seen Super Troopers?
Of course.
You know when they pull the couple over? And they're like, got the feather and like, I won't use any accents. But let's just say that there was a couple that were frisky. Have you seen Super Troopers, Kevin?
Tickle, tickle, I believe is what he
tickle,
says.
Tickle, tickle. Who's ready for a mustache ride? Because they didn't. Can I say that? Anyways, so they brought him to jail, but then all of a sudden they brought him to the house. Anyways, this is the headline. You ready? Cop has sex with woman he arrested. Let me say it again. Cop has sex with woman he arrested. Accidentally locks himself in back of his cruiser for over an hour, gets caught, and is forced to resign. Reminds me of Super Troopers. Another Super Troopers is, remember her and the girl that worked for the competing police department? They got locked in the back of a cruiser too. But a San Diego police officer resigns after getting locked in the backseat of his police cruiser for over an hour with a woman he had arrested. Officer Anthony Hare arrested the woman due to a suspected car theft. On the way to police headquarters, though, the woman could be heard in the backseat telling Hare that she wanted to have sex. The woman, are you single? Him, yeah, but you're not. Woman, I'm down to DTF. He then pulled down a residential street and turned his car and body cam off. Why'd you do that? After about 20 minutes, Hare called a fellow officer asking if he had a master key to open the back door of his police cruiser because he had locked himself in. Hey, Skaz, you got a backup key? Could you help me out here?
That's one embarrassing phone call right there.
The officer arrived and opened the back door, finding Hare with the women in the back seat. Throughout the investigation, Hare claims he was just checking on the woman and claimed the door accidentally locked behind him. You dumped me!
I wasn't sure what was said right
dumped me
there.
again. That was a rap line. That was not my line. Snoop Dogg referenced that in Gin and Juice, I believe. You dumped me again.
You've been tiptoeing the line. No. I wouldn't want to work with that guy either.
I heard Kevin laughing. What does the chat think about this one? Meow. If you're going to lie.
Maybe clean up the evidence is what you're saying. I don't know. On work property feels like you're destined to be fired there.
Criminal. A car thief.
It's a big 3 right there.
What about the girl in this situation? Let's think about this one. She's arrested. She's a car thief. He didn't use protection. Anyways. That's a true story. I have 5 more of these for this week, by the way. Full shows every night. I didn't swear. I got dumped, but I did not swear.
It wasn't a swear, but it was a close collection of words I was unsure of.
Was it the slipping part? Famous birthdays, May 28th. Where do we start? Gladys Knight, 80 years old today. Kylie Minogue, 56 years old today. Alexa Davalos, 42. She was with, what's her name? Carrie Mulligan, 39 years old today. Colby Calett, 39 years old today. John Fogerty, 79 years old today. Krista Miller, who was on the Drew Carey Show in Scrubs, is 60. Who is that? You have any guess?
I got one. Jerry West is 86 years old.
The logo.
The logo.
Seth Rollins, WWE wrestler, 38 years old today.
Joe, I don't know if you're a New Girl fan, but Jake Johnson is 46 years old today.
I've watched. I think Fred is a big New Girl.
I believe that is correct.
Jake Johnson's 46. Have your cop car and then call Skaz to back you out. Doesn't want to work with you. HAIR. It's a real hairy situation, wouldn't you say? We got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray.
WBCFM HD1 from the Town Fair Tire Studios, the home of the Patriots, the Celts, the Revs, and the Bruins. Boston's home for sports is 98.5, the Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Minnesota has a 66-62 lead right now over Dallas. Second game right now, third quarter. 5 minutes to go. Panthers up 2-1 going into the third period. They got goals from Sam Bennett and Verhaeghe, his 9th of the playoffs. Game's going into the third period. And the Red Sox winners tonight 8-3. Brian Bayo got his 6th win of the year, had 7 strikeouts. Wilyer Abreu and Rob Ruffschneider with dongs. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
If you've got the app, you've got Spirited Sports Talk.
I have one ear and I got that.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Some guy says he's sitting at a Chipotle right now, and they hooked it up. And didn't we talk about that last week, guys? They're now trying to work with the Chipotle workers about adding more to the Chipotle meals. And our friend who went to Chipotle says that they really they gave him a good portion. So good for him on that one. 617-779-0985. We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. Of course, we got our eyes on what's happening at the Western Conference Final. Minnesota trying to hang on. They have a 66-62 lead. Luka Doncic has 21 points and 10 rebounds in this one, and he has 5 assists, 3 turnovers, and hasn't played any defense. So that's something I would look at. Did you know that the number 1 seed has won the NBA championship 50 times? And I don't know how many years. 76 years. The 2 seed has won it 16 times. The number 3 seed has won it 8 times. Houston, the last to do so. The number 4 seed has done it before. Sorry, Houston was a 6 seed. The number 5 seed has never won a championship. That's Dallas. And 6, again, that was the Houston team that I was telling you about. That was the back-to-back Clyde Drexler. I think they set it up that way. So as far as seeding goes, yep, Celtics have the advantage. And just a couple other notes that I wrote down here, but the Pacers, I thought were a pretty good team, and we'll get into some of the clutch time play that the Celtics did regarding them. But just watching this, and I'm looking ahead here. Looking ahead. We talked about this earlier tonight. Is Kyrie Irving a top 5 villain of all time? I have my list. Who is the biggest villain of all time? To me, I feel like Roger Goodell was number 1 for me. I don't know. Goodell's on the list. That's all I know. I got Goodell on there. I got the Manning brothers. And I got A-Rod. That's where I'm at. I know Ulf Samuelson will be on there for what he did to Cam Neely. Again, I was 9 years old when I saw that happen. I was 9 years old when I saw Cam Neely get taken out of the playoffs. So actually, it would have been 10, actually. A-Rod's on that list. And then you got to look at it. Where does Kyrie rank on that one? Because, Rex Ryan, I didn't really hate him. I know people don't like Jack Tatum, who delivered that dirty hit to Darryl Stingley all those years ago. And I think LeBron James has kind of gone out of it there. So I'm going to go Detroit Bad Boy Pistons. And again, I was a little young, but I know it was bad. I think Kyrie's on the list. Ulf Samuelson, however order you want. I'm looking at NBC Sports Boston. They did something back in 2022. They had Bernard Pollard, Jack Tatum, Rex Ryan, Ulf Samuelson, the Manning brothers, LeBron James. Kyrie Irving came in at 4. Irving undoubtedly takes the cake as the biggest villain in that category. It all started when the former Celtics guard promised fans at TD Garden he would re-sign the following season. A tumultuous 2017-18 campaign resulted in him going back on that promise to sign with the Brooklyn Nets. The change of heart plus a few jabs at the Celtics fan base has culminated in a hateful relationship between Irving and the fans he once told he hoped to have his number in the rafters one day. We might have to dig all that up some night here, Skaz. We got 9 days to go. But Kyrie Irving did say, I wish you could have me back and I would like to have my number retired here. He also had a bottle thrown at him, which is unnecessary and inappropriate, and nobody should do that. I did not like that. I hated that. Fans throwing stuff at Kyrie, out. Stupid. Don't do that to any athlete. The other angle here with the whole Kyrie thing is the relationship between Tatum, Duke player, and Jaylen Brown, who at the time I believe they had some differences, but now that they're no longer teammates, very philanthropic, I would say. The beliefs of Kyrie, I'm out on. I don't even want to get into it. I hate that. Weird guy, but good basketball player, and I'll keep it to that. But he has saged the garden. And I even called him the final boss. It would be so fitting for the Celtics to get past Kyrie Irving or even Luka Doncic, who's been labeled the next Larry Bird. It'd also be great if Kristaps Porzingis could come back and defeat his former team that traded him to Washington, right? Which made him available for the Celtics. So it's all full circle, and we'll wait to see what happens. But right now, the Minnesota has a 66-62 lead. Anything else from you, Scaz, on that one?
We did this a little bit last night with McCarthy and Jay Stu, but if you had to draft a series between the Celtics and the Mavericks, what are your top 5 picks? You're drafting the best players in the series, 1 to 5.
I'd probably go Tatum 1.
McCarthy and Jay Stu both had Tatum at 1.
I'd probably go Brown 2, Luka 3.
Luka is much, much better than Jaylen Brown.
Yep. No, I know. I'd probably go Brown 2.
Even though Luka's much better than him.
I think he's a better defender.
What if I told you Luka Doncic had a higher career defensive rating than Jaylen Brown?
Wow.
Luka is not a great defender, but the media perception that he plays in no defense is widely overblown.
I think Luka is an absolutely outstanding basketball player. What he can do at the point guard position, a little overweight, which he's had problems with his whole career. His injuries, his ankles, he plays every night. He's a baller. Probably, yeah. You know what? You're probably right. It's Luka 2. Brown 3. Then Kyrie.
And then after that, it's kind of a...
Probably Drew Holiday.
Yeah, Holiday, White, Porzingis if he's healthy, yeah.
Or Porzingis.
I think the Celtics have the next 3 or 4 guys.
I think Porzingis is probably on the list. Ooh, wow. Luka Brown, huh? Luka versus Brown. Wow. Yeah, Luka's clearly been better than Brown. It's not clear to me, though. I don't know why. It should be clear that Luka's better than Jaylen Brown. I don't know why I'm looking into that one, but you mentioned those defensive numbers. Luka's been more consistent than Brown, no doubt about it. Who's had more support in their career? Definitely Tatum and Brown.
Luka has had support. Like, he had Porzingis, he had Brunson. It just didn't work. So it's not like he's had nobody next to him.
He's had Brunson. He's had... Did he have Porzingis?
Yeah, Luka and Porzingis played together.
Yeah. Better coach, Jason Kidd or Joe Mazzulla?
Oh, that's tough.
Because Mazzulla walked into an unbelievable situation.
Yeah, it's tough. And Kidd, he's had some real blunders. He's been fired. He's a bad guy.
Oh, that's another 2002. Celtics, Nets. Jason Kidd had a personal issue that, let's just say, Dan Shaughnessy wrote about, made public, regarding him and his spouse. That was a huge storyline in 2002. In Boston, by the way, that happened. I don't think he can sweep that under the rug. 20 years later? 20-something years later? I think Kidd's a better coach. Can he coach up? And again, I don't want to talk about Dallas before they win yet because I still think Minnesota is probably going to win tonight. And then it's going to go back to Minnesota. Can they win that game and force a game 6 back in Dallas? I don't know. But I think the bigs of Dallas suck. Lively's fine. He's a rookie.
Gafford's had some good games.
Gafford's a jag. He's just another guy. He's just another guy. But, hey, man, that's why they play the games. Clutch moments. Are the Celtics clutch? We'll tell you why they are. Coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Zone.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe.
to Kay Adams as well. So we'll spread out a little bit of football tomorrow throughout the show, and if there's any NHL stuff worth talking about. And we're always down for nipples for triples, so. You think I can get that trending? Nipples for triples?
I don't know if I'm co-signing that one. Apparently, there were some people in the responses responding with their own MILF Milliken-inspired posts.
MILF Milliken, you said?
No, I did not say that. I said apparently there were some people in the replies responding with their own...
hashtag.
They were doing it, pictures as well.
Oh, they were doing their
some
own
tarps
nipples.
off, yes.
You know what? The Red Sox need something. Let's be honest. For the third night in a row, actually, I have had out-of-market playoff games on over the local Red Sox. I have 3 TVs, yet I don't have the Red Sox on any of them. They did win tonight 8-3. Brian Bayo win, 7 strikeouts. I'm going to talk about it for a minute here. Wilyer Abreu homered, Rob Ruffschneider. Like, those are the guys that homered, right? They're right in the wild card race. All that's great fun. They're going to trade probably the closer, Jansen, who said he's still ready to go and he's going to pitch whenever you need him and all that crap. But when it comes to the Red Sox, we need something. So I don't know. Like, I think of the movie Major League whenever something kind of catches. Back in the day in Parkway Little League, we used to do rally caps. We'd turn our hat inside out. In Hyde Park, we turned them inside out and wore them backwards. We always came up with something. We used to put bubble gum on our hats. We used to blow a big bubble and then put them on our hat. We had a bunch of things. So, there was the beards in 2004. There was the, there was the Boston Strong in 2013. Obviously, that was for a different reason. Was there something else with that 2013 team that they did? Wasn't the beards. No, that was 2004. I'm trying to think. Did 2013 have some other kind of gimmick? Outside of Boston Strong? Like, did they have, their own in-house gimmick? And the 2018 had nothing, right? It's just kind of run by Mookie and the rest of the way. We need a Major League Baseball gimmick, and there's nothing better than Tyler Milliken's nipples. Every time somebody hits a triple, he shows his nipples. And I think that if we watch the games and we see a triple, we are going to go directly to Tyler. It's going to be something we watch. It could go viral. It could be on other radio stations through the country. It could be on YouTube. And if it happens and he does it, we're going to have it for you every night right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, and probably every day from 10 to 2 in the afternoon. Nipples for triples could be a thing. Just like kids eat free at the 99, you hit a triple, you get Tyler Milliken's nipples. And then you know what happens? Everyone else starts showing their nipples. You in or out on that one, Kevin? In. Everybody's in.
I don't know about everybody.
No, everybody's in. Remember Willie Mays Hayes in Major League? Every time he stole a base, what did he do? He put the batting gloves on the wall. He got 100. What's the difference? Batting gloves, nipples, let's go. Yeah, Three Little Birds, 2013. Yep. That was Shane Victorino, everybody. There's much more talk of Tyler's nipple than I ever thought I'd hear about. It's because we need something. What's going on in baseball right now? Tell me, give me a story besides the umpire retiring who sucks.
I mean, Ronald Acuna.
Okay, he got hurt. He's out. See ya.
Done.
Give me something else. We already had the gambling thing. That didn't work out.
Paul Skeens seems to be a big story.
Who?
Number 1 pick in the draft.
Who?
Pitching for the Pirates.
Who? You got something, Kevin? What do you like back there?
Kevin said he's dating a famous, what is she? TikToker.
Who? Who is she?
Livy Dunn.
Okay, let's... Livy Dunn. With an E at the end. Okay. Livy Dunn, an American artistic gymnastics woman, social media personality. She's 21. She's your age, Kevin. She's from Westwood, New Jersey, 5'6". She went to LSU. Good for him. She was seen riding a horse on the beach recently. It was a trip to Mexico. She was a part of the swimsuit SI whirlwind that just happened. But yes, Kevin, that is more. That's how I have to relate to baseball now. Just like Rube Baker in Major League identified throwing back to the pitcher by reading Playboy. That's baseball in a nutshell, everybody. You relate something to something you know about to baseball.
And for us, it's become Tyler Milliken.
That's right. Wade Boggs liked to drink beer and eat chicken and wear women's clothing. But you know what? He was a damn good hitter. It's a true story. Just like A-Rod was a Red Sox and had a signed contract. But unfortunately, the Yankees guaranteed the money instead of the Red Sox voluntarily being awarded it by the union. It didn't happen. Curious if there's any other nipple, well, there's been some things on the radio. You've heard of WOW before? Remember, you ever heard of that? You never heard of Whip It Out Wednesdays? No, it wasn't. It was female related. But yeah, it was kind of like you saw the bumper sticker and
can't say that one ever crossed my radar.
I am old. I feel like I'm older than everybody now. I've had to go back in history to the 03 Red Sox, and now I'm talking about Whip It Out Wednesday. Some guy goes, I'm all for the nipple stuff, just not Tyler's. If Nipples for Triples catches on, I want expansion teams in Canada. What's the biggest story in baseball right now? Tyler's nipples. It is. The biggest story in Red Sox baseball right now, it's not Wilyer Abreu or Brian Bayo or Alex Cora in a lame duck year. It's Tyler Milliken's nipples for triples. Facts. Get you the headlines here. We'll tell you what's going on in this basketball game. It's interesting.
Sports Hub headlines.
Minnesota and Dallas tied at 78 with 11 minutes to go in the fourth.
Attacks the paint, rises, scoops, scores, and the foul. And with 38.9 to go, Drew Holiday will calmly walk to the free throw line with a chance, wait for it, to give Boston the lead.
Oh, what a play this was. Right into the body. You reach. Doggone it, I teach.
8 seconds to go. Indiana not calling timeout. Nembhard racing into the front court. Holiday knocks the ball away with his left hand. Goes into the front court and gets fouled by Siakam.
Man, talking about playing defense.
The Pacers had a timeout. They didn't use it. And Drew Holiday hunted down Nembhard like he committed a crime. Ripped the ball away from him when he dribbled behind his back. And Drew Holiday, who has been brilliant from the start of this series to this very minute, now goes to the line with Boston up 1 and 1.1 to go.
Let me give you that sound. Handcuffs. That's what they put on him. Take him to jail, Your Honor.
Man, that was unbelievable. That was an unbelievable play. A guy like that coming full speed, him having the instincts to do that, he's just a winner. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. He's a winner, and he stepped up in such a big way for us tonight in that moment. Also, when he got the and one, then knocking down those free throws at the end, he's a winner, man. I'm so fortunate to be playing next to him.
Joe gives Drew so much freedom throughout the game. Obviously we have coverages, but Drew is especially the one guy who can roam or whatever he sees, whether there's a gamble or if he wants to switch the defense or the matchups, or he has that freedom because we all trust him so much, and he's been in so many big moments that he just makes big plays all the time.
Good love. All right, back here 98.5 The Sports. Thanks to Jay Stu for that montage. Great job. Celtics await the winner of Dallas and Minnesota. Game's tied at 83 right now, 8 minutes to go. There was just a out of the gym jumping dunk that just happened from Luka Doncic alley-oop to Derek Jones. I have not seen anyone jump that high for a alley-oop in a long time. That was a phenomenal play. The more I watched Luka as I'm doing the show here, he's an incredible basketball player. He really is. He's young, can shoot the three, can really do anything in the post, off the dribble. He's a fired-up player. I mean, the way he was talking to Gobert after hitting the big shot, he just had a huge rebound on a possession just now, gets it to Kyrie. He's spacing the team. He's telling guys where to go. It's funny, they always have man ball, two guys right in his area, which leaves somebody else open right there. It was Derek Jones who missed a three, but he really is just a guy that everyone knows where he is on the court. That's how Kyrie kind of finds his spaces. So we didn't see. Have we seen Kluber tonight? Kluber, is that his name? He's a nice little player. He got hurt earlier this year, and I know he's been dealing with injuries. Kleber. He's played tonight. Okay, he has 2 points in 12 minutes. Whatever. He's also getting his. Dwight Powell, didn't he play for the Celtics for a little bit? Here's another thing. I think my buddy sold him a car. I think Dwight Powell played for the Celtics and bought a car for my buddy.
He was traded along with... hold on. All right, so he was traded in exchange for Keith Bogans and 2 future second-round picks. He was assigned multiple times to the Red Claws. I don't know if he ever played a game for the Celtics.
And Keith Bogans was so bad that they sent him home for the entire season.
Yes.
And kept his money on the books. Dwight Powell, huh? Again, bought a car for my buddy. True story. I knew that. I knew that was true when I saw that name. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about what they have for bigs. PJ Washington's a player. He's struggling tonight, but always been good in Charlotte. The kid Gafford, to your point, Scaz, 5 for 5 from the field, doing everything he can, 6 rebounds, 10 points on the night, 4 blocks. That's huge. So he's getting an opportunity to play, and he's playing well. And I'm not a real big fan of Jaden Hardy. What school did he go to? Why am I forgetting where he went? But he's basically their bench guard. Had a nice little season. Where did he go to school? Why can't I remember this? Does it even matter? It doesn't.
He did not go to school.
There we go.
He went to the G League.
There we go. But I knew Jaden Hart. I know the name.
He was recruited to Kentucky and UCLA and decided to go to the G League instead.
Someone goes, that car that you sold was now rotting away somewhere in Maine. Anything else to add, Skez?
I'm pleading the fifth a lot tonight. I'm just, no comment.
Had a long weekend, Coming back, got a lot of thoughts to get off my chest. I think the Tyler Milliken thing could be really big this year, but I'll stop because somebody said to stop talking about it, so I will.
I am going to be tuned in 10 o'clock tomorrow to see what one Scott Zolak has to say.
What's the leadoff story? Like, if Minnesota wins, what's the leadoff story?
It's Tyler Milliken.
It's Tyler Milliken.
I'm very interested to hear, everyone's thoughts, but Tim McCone as a new, fixture on that show. I'm very interested to see how McCone approaches Tyler Milliken.
I might just email them this show.
I mean, we should have said an over-under for the amount of times it was mentioned.
Gobert and Towns, whack. Those guys are whack. I'm sorry. And I know. They're good players. Defensive player of the year.
I think Gobert has been okay.
These guys are in the end.
Towns and Edwards have been the problem for Minnesota. Edwards and Towns cannot shoot the ball. Rudy Gobert is what Rudy Gobert is. He should never be switched out there. He's an under the basket defender that's very good at that. When you get him away from the basket, he's in trouble. For me, it's on Finch. It's on the head coach for not, doing anything else. And Edwards and Towns have been the problem shooting the ball.
In chat, John says Rudy Gobert has the mobility of a Tin Man.
Yeah, I would imagine he won't be winning Defensive Player of the Year next year.
Who should?
Wemby? It's going to be Wemby.
Wemby!
It might be Wemby for the next, who knows how long.
Wow, Towns actually passed it to Gobert, double teamed for a dunk. Go look at that. I know we'll get the final break coming up in a minute here, but with 6 minutes to go, Minnesota up 1. Don't you feel like they're going to blow it?
That's what they've done all series.
It's weird because I don't think they have a functioning offense. Like, Anthony Edwards does have a nice jump shot. Towns going to the basket and kicking it to Gobert. They need to look. They have to rely on Anderson. What's his name there? Kid who played at UCLA. Kyle Anderson. They have to rely on him to get quality shots. It's, in a way, dude, it's a miracle they beat the Nuggets. I don't know how they did. But I just keep watching them. Like, McDaniels might be one of their best players. Like, Mike Conley doesn't really do much for me anymore. And Naz Reid, I know he was 6 minutes, got to get him in more minutes. So, I don't know. I'm not the coach of the Timberwolves. But they're just too big against Dallas. They need more wings. Both teams, I think, are going to lose to the Celtics anyways. 617-779-0985. We got one more segment to go. It could be about anything, so you should stick around and listen to it as we wrap up, and we'll tell you what's going on the rest of this week.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the
All right, final segment here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. Thanks to everybody hanging out in our our YouTube chat tonight. Shout out to the Tube fam. And again, we're on every night. At some point, we're going to try to get our guests to join us video. It's the two of us, but now we have Kevin, our intern, here one night, and we have Christina here another night. So we got a little bit of help here with our interns. We're going to learn more about Kevin. We're going to stick you in a chair one day, and we're going to ask you a bunch of questions, all right? Do you want to be in radio? Is that what you're trying to do? Yeah?
He's a graphic design guy.
Oh!
So we'll be putting him to work.
Well, sir, we have a lot of graphic design needs. We also have a video system in there that we're going to talk to you about at some point that we can, that little stuff that you keep shutting off during the break? It's all recorded in there. So we're going to put you to work, bro. And then we'll get you a Pleasant Cafe pizza to help you out.
So that's a deal.
Oh, this guy's I don't want to overrate Pleasant because it's my neighborhood pizza joint. Like some people might go there. Doesn't look so pleasant on the outside. Or the inside, for that matter. But those are the places. Just like the sub place you told me down the street. Doesn't look like a nice place, but you know what? That man made it from scratch. And I appreciated it a lot more. Rest of this week, what do we have? Tomorrow night, full show. It's already Wednesday, huh? Wow. Full show tomorrow. Full show Thursday. Full show Friday. Full show Monday. Full show Tuesday. Full show Wednesday. Game 1 next Thursday of the NBA Finals. So we're going to be talking a lot of nipples, a lot of car crashes or arrests. Maybe the Red Sox will do something for us to talk about. We do have to dig into some of that Patriot stuff. Drake May signed today. We didn't really get into that. We'll do more tomorrow night. And we're going to try to work on some different kind of guests over the next couple of weeks. So before we go, though, I just wanted to mention a couple of things regarding the Celtics. And I didn't get a chance to mention this, but the Celtics' path, they did not have the easiest path. I know the Ringer had this just a couple of days ago, but the Celtics will play in the NBA Finals. Doesn't matter how they got there, of course. They had a brief scare against Miami, brief scare against the Cavs, but besides that, everything was good. But Boston earned the number 1 seed by winning 7 more regular season games than anyone else in the league. The Celtics secured themselves of that several months ago. People thought that they were flawed, but also played flawed teams. And they're not the only team in the East to benefit from injury. New York got a banged up Joel Embiid, right? The Pacers didn't have to deal with Giannis. How come nobody talks about that? If someone wanted to bring up anything regarding the Celtics this year, maybe Indiana outplayed Boston in games 1 and fumbled it away and had a lead in all the rest of the games. But the Celtics finding ways to win in all of these games against quality opponents is something to admire or given credit for. Because people are using words like the bye. Like none of it matters. The Celtics should be annoyed. They should be. They said it doesn't bother them. It does. Winning 4 more games makes all those things disappear forever. Right? We live in this rings culture. That's all that matters is rings. And we do that here. We do that here. But I do believe in having successful seasons. This has been one. But for the Celtics, though, in particular, this team, they need to close it out. And right now, Minnesota has a 98-92 lead over Dallas with 2:30 to go, unless something amazing happens here in the next 2 minutes. And trust me, the way I've watched Minnesota play, it hasn't been great. Karl Anthony Towns hit 2 big threes and then just had a big turnover. And Luka Doncic has the ball, knows who to throw it to, and guys who know how to knock down shots, but they missed. So 2 minutes to go. Minnesota up 6. I think they extend the series, and it will give us more to talk about.